This is the Rovyvon Angel Eyes E30 Pro, and it does something a little bit different with the new flat designed everyday carry flashlight trend that we've been seeing lately. But is it trying to do too much? Well, let's talk about that. But first, let me show you exactly what the Rovyvon Angel Eyes E30 comes with. This is the box that it came with right here. Nothing too special. Also comes with a Type A to Type C charging cable. It also comes with a lanyard here and, of course, a user manual. And I'll give you a close-up of the Rovyvon Angel Eyes E30 here. It comes in two different colors, black and this color that I have right here, marble. And you also have the option to choose what lights come on the side here. You can choose either 3 warm white lights or the version that I have right here, a warm white light, a red light, and an ultraviolet light. And I'll demonstrate that when I go over the UI a little bit later on in this video. So what exactly is so special about the E30 Pro here? Well, it has a maximum output of 3500 lumens, which is very, very bright. And pushing out those 3500 lumens are dual luminous SST40 LEDs right here in the front that has a cool white temperature of about 7000 to 7500 Kelvin. And the front lights here have a maximum throwing distance of about 200 meters and a max intensity of 10,000 candela. And I'll get in real close for you right there, and you can probably notice that hole right dead center. That's the proximity sensor. And honestly, it's one of the most sensitive proximity sensors I've ever seen on a flashlight. And once again, I'll demonstrate that a little bit later, but it's really, really sensitive. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that don't like proximity sensors, but don't worry, you can actually turn this one off. And while I'm here at these dual emitters, I'll try to get in real close so you can see that TIR optic lens. They don't sit back very far at all, but that has a lot to do with its 200-meter throw. That's not a great throwing distance, but this isn't meant to be a thrower. The front light here has 5 brightness levels: eco, low, medium, high, and turbo. And then there's a side light right here, which I think is pretty cool. You can either get 3 warm white lights or the version that I have right here, ultraviolet, red, and warm white. The warm white has a color temperature of about 4500 Kelvin, and all the lighting outputs are controlled with 3 switches, 2 right here at the very tail, and then 1 side switch right there. And the side switches here are all made of metal, so they feel pretty high quality. There's no plastic pieces or anything like that in these side switches, so that's pretty nice. Almost everything on the E30 Pro feels very high quality, so that's definitely a plus. And speaking of that quality, the body is made from an aluminum alloy. The black version that I don't have has a hard anodization, and the marble version that I have here has a micro arc oxidation. If I get in real close, you can sort of see that finish. It feels really nice. And inside of the body is a 3000 milliamp hour built-in battery, and everything is charged with this Type-C charging port right here on the side. If I can get it open, it's covered with this little rubber flap. I'll give you a close-up of that Type-C charging port right there. Oh, and I should mention that the built-in battery is a lithium polymer battery. And you guys know how I feel about built-in batteries. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But with these flat design flashlights, I'm not really sure a workaround. You're not really going to stick a 21700 or an 18650 battery in here. So you're sort of taking your chances with buying a flat design flashlight like this, because there's no way to change out this battery when it goes dead. Also right here on the top next to these 3 LEDs, you'll see 4 smaller LEDs right there. That's the battery life indicator. And if I just click the flashlight on real quick, you can see those 4 LEDs light up, and they will go out after about 4 seconds. So it's a boot up battery life indicator. I'm glad it doesn't stay on the entire time the flashlight is on. So that is a plus. But normally when I see 4 LEDs, it usually means each LED is 25%, but they have a different system here. If you see 4 blue, that means it's 60 to 100%. 3 means 40 to 59%. 2 is 20 to 39%, and 1 is 5 to 19%. And if you're under 4%, it turns red. So it is a dual stage 4 LED battery life system. And it also comes with a removable pocket clip right here, which does feel really nice. You can see it's almost deep carry. There's about a 1/2 inch that's going to stick up right above your pockets there. And to remove it, all you have to do is just peel back one of these little tabs right there and pull the other one back. There we go. Pulls right off. But for me, I like to have this pocket clip on there. And like I said, it does feel pretty comfortable in the pocket, so I do like this pocket clip. All right, let's talk dimensions here. It has a length of 4.88 inches, a width of 1.14 inches, and a height, which is basically the thickness, of 0.83 inches. And according to my weight test, it comes in at 3.7 ounces. That's about 104.8 grams. It also has an impact resistance of 1.5 meters and a water resistance of IP68. The 6 means it's completely dustproof, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water. But I should mention that the user manual says IP68, but looking online, it says IPX8. And if you guys don't know about IP ratings, the X usually means it wasn't tested. So according to the website, the dustproofing wasn't tested, but the user manual, they gave it a 6. So I'm not really sure which one's true here. Maybe somebody from Rovyvon, if you're watching this video, maybe you can chime in the comments somewhere. I don't know. But I'm just giving you guys the information that I have, and it's conflicting information. And let's do a quick size comparison here. This is the E30 Pro right up against the Olight Arcfeld. There's front, and that's what it looks like from the side. And then next to the Nitecore EDC 25 right there, if I hold it up from the bottom, you can see the EDC 25 is slightly longer, and that's what it looks like from the side. And next, the Nitecore EDC 27. The 27 is still a little bit longer than the E30 Pro, and that's what it looks like from the side. All right, so let's go over the lumens and runtime information here. On the very top, you can see it has the front light info. 5 brightness levels: Eco, Low, Medium, High, and Turbo. Eco is 10 lumens, has a runtime of 67 hours. Low is 60 lumens, has a runtime of 23 hours. And then there's medium, what I like to call the sweet spot, is 200 lumens, and that's decent. I like to see a 200 to 300 lumen medium. Has a runtime of 8.5 hours and an intensity of 700. High is 1000 lumens, has a runtime of 1.7 hours and has an intensity of 3000 candela. And then Turbo, 3000 lumens, no runtime, and has an intensity of 10,000 candela. And I'll be testing out that runtime very shortly since there's no runtime information, but that to me means it's a burst mode. So this is a sustainable 1000 lumen flashlight that has a burst of 3500 lumens. And we all know by now that's a marketing gimmick. They want to market this flashlight as 3500 lumens, but sustainable, it can do 1000 lumens. But let's go to these 4500 Kelvin side lights. So if you go with the 3 white lights, the low is 1 lumen and has a 500 hour runtime. That's a pretty decent runtime, but it's only 1 lumen. But let's move on to medium, 20 lumens, 78 hour runtime, and high is 100 lumens and has a 14 hour runtime. And then the version that I have right here with the ultraviolet red and white, low is 1 lumen and high is 100 lumens, the exact same thing. It just doesn't have that medium mode. No lumen information on the red though, but there is a low, high, flash, and beacon with that red mode. The low red mode is 37 hours and the high red mode is 11 hours. And then at the very end, the ultraviolet light is 10 hours of runtime. And then I just noticed right there at the bottom, it says turbo mode drops to 1000 lumens in 10 seconds. Once again, I'm going to test that very shortly. All right, so now let's go over the UI. So everything is controlled with these 3 switches right here near the tail. And at the beginning of this video, I said, is this flashlight trying to do too much? And that has a lot to do with this system right here. Meaning I'm not really sure what this flashlight is trying to be. Is this trying to be an everyday carry flashlight, a tactical flashlight, or just a soft lantern / reading flashlight? Because it's trying to pack in a lot of features here. And to me, there's a slight learning curve with these 3 buttons. So let's start right here. This is the EDC switch. This is the dual stage tactical switch, and this is the side switch. So let's start here at the EDC switch. And this is where the UI gets a little weird for me because it's a single press on, but it goes right to eco. So if you single press to eco, that's all this mode can do. So you can either single press off or you can press and hold to turn it off. But if you want to reach the 4 cyclable brightness levels through that EDC side switch, what you have to do is double press, and then it goes back to your last known brightness level because it does have a memory. So there is eco, low, medium, and high. That is the 1000 lumen high. Now I'm holding it this far above the desk because as soon as I get, look at that, as soon as I get about a foot away from that desk, that proximity sensor kicks in. I told you this is one of the most sensitive proximity sensors I've ever seen. You can see just how high I am from the desk, and it's still activating that sensor. If your flashlight is on high, which I have it on right now, it'll reduce to 10 lumens. And if you have it on turbo, it'll reduce 2 times, so it's a dual stage proximity sensor. The 3500 lumen turbo will go down to 1000 and then 10. And I'll demonstrate that when I talk about the tactical switch right there. And to turn off the flashlight when you're in this 4 cyclable lighting levels mode, you have to press and hold to turn it off. So I guess I'm a little bit confused here at this UI, why Rovyvon put Eco as a single press and then double press to take us to the 4 cyclable brightness levels. Basically, every flashlight that I own, and I own over 100 flashlights at this point, is a single press on or a press and hold to turn the flashlight on and then just cycle the brightness levels. It's rarely ever a double press. So just based on memory, I take this out of my pocket and I just click it once and I'm trying to cycle through the brightness levels and I can't get anywhere because it goes right to Eco. I would much rather have a double press to Eco and a single press to get to my 4 cyclable brightness levels. But let's move on from that. So let's press and hold, turn that off. Now let's talk about this dual stage tactical switch right here. Pretty self-explanatory. 2 stages, turbo and strobe. A half press, I'm gonna have to turn it to the side because of that proximity sensor. A half press takes you right to turbo. Wow, it's that sensitive. See that? So there's 3500 lumens. Let me raise it from the desk right there. 3500 lumens and strobe warning, full press. There's your strobe. And now, as I promised, I'm going to demonstrate that 3500 lumen proximity sensor in the tactical switch right there. I'll hold it way up. Half press, there's 35. Now, if I move in, I already clicked over to 1000, and then it clicks over to 10. And honestly, guys, I'm about 2 feet away. Right there. I'm at least 2 feet away from the desk when it clicks over to 1000, and I'm over a foot away when it clicks into 10 lumens. And I realize that's a safety feature, but honestly, that is crazy. I'm over 2 feet away from my desk when it, right there, that is insane. So look at how high my hand is when it clicks over to that 1000. Look at that. That is absolutely insane. I don't think the proximity sensor needs to be that sensitive. I would say right around the foot is where it can kick in, but to be about 3 feet in the air to hit the first stage and about 1.5 feet in the air to reach the second stage, I don't know, that is crazy. And as I mentioned, there is a way to turn it off. So I bring in the user manual right here. It says to turn it off or to turn it on, press and hold the EDC side switch for 10 seconds. The light flashes 3 times when the sensor is activated and flashes twice when the sensor is inactive. So to turn it on or off, press and hold the EDC side switch for about 10 seconds and you can make it active or deactivate it. And it does have a button press lockout. From off, what you want to do is rapid press the EDC switch right here 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should flash right there. Now we're locked out. And to unlock, rapid press 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And there we go. It is back on. It's going to flash for a couple seconds, but now we are back on. Not my favorite lockout method, but at least it has one, especially if you want to turn off that proximity sensor. You're going to need some sort of lockout because you don't want this accidentally activating in your pocket and burning holes in there, because it probably will happen based on how bright this 3500 lumens is. And now the side switch. If you guys have the exact flashlight that I have, what you want to do is single press to turn on that warm white side light and then single press again to activate high. So that's low and high, press and hold to turn off. Double press activates the red light and then single press to cycle the modes. So there is low, high, there is the flash, and then there is the red beacon. Press and hold to turn that off too. And to activate the ultraviolet light, triple click, 1, 2, 3, and there's your ultraviolet light, and then just click again or press and hold to turn that off. So I can't really say the UI here is simple and easy to use because there is a slight learning curve here, especially since it has 3 buttons. And when you first buy this, you're going to pull this out of your pocket and start fumbling around with these 3 buttons, especially with that single click to Eco. And it honestly took me days to get used to this. And I still pull this out and fumble around with these buttons. All right, now it's time for my not so scientific heat and turbo test. And they were pretty much spot on with that 10-second runtime. I mean, I'll put up the exact time right now on the screen. And the temperature was right around 102 degrees. But as you see here in this video, I re-clicked the turbo button again, and it lasted again for another 10 seconds. So it looks like you can continuously do that as long as the flashlight doesn't get too hot, because it did rise to about 128 degrees Fahrenheit. And then I touched it afterwards and it was really, really hot. So be careful there. If you're going to continuously use turbo, wear some gloves. And that really isn't recommended. The hotter this flashlight gets, you're just going to wear down those internals of the flashlight and it's just not going to last as long. All right, let's do the beam test. So I'm going to start out on Eco. That is the 10 lumen Eco. And actually, it's not terrible for only 10 lumens. You can already start to see that hot spot right there. But I'm not going to spend too much time here. Let's go to low. See if I can hit that tree back there. Yeah, kissing that tree. Let's scan across. Wow, I am sort of getting a piece of that barn too. Not bad. But let's go to medium. 200 lumen medium. I like to call this the sweet spot because I've spent a lot of my time in medium and in high, and I can see some eyes right there. Right there. I don't know if you guys saw my video a couple of weeks back, but there was a bunch of deer right over here. But right there, I can see some eyes looking at me. Could be a deer, could be a coyote. There's two actually, right there. I do have coyotes back here too, so it's a little crazy. But I'll put up a distance between me and that tree, and then me and that barn right there. Let's go to high, 1000 lumen high, and check that out. So I'm going to hold the flashlight still and pan so you get an idea of just how wide that beam spread is. It's not incredibly floody, but it's floody enough. I mean, the spill is pretty decent here. And I'm holding the flashlight like this. I'm not holding it like this. I guess you would normally hold it like this, but with a flashlight like this, I hold it overhand so I can get access to all of those buttons there. But 1000 lumens, and now let's go to turbo. In turbo, I'm going to use the tack button. I'm going to half press. There we go. And I'm only going to get about 10 seconds here. Wow. So 3500 lumens. It's going to cut off any second now. There it is. Let's try it again. Boom. It is bright, man. I mean, the brightness level is pretty impressive. What are those? I can't tell. Right there. I'm not sure if you guys can see those eyes staring back at me. I can't tell what those are. But high turbo. But the beam profile here is pretty crazy. You can see that fairly wide hotspot right there. And the spill, I know I said it wasn't that floody, but the spill, I mean, the fall off over here does go fairly wide. You can see that fall off right there. Flashlight's way over here, and the fall off is still catching a piece of that. So yeah, I guess it is a little bit on the floodier side. Definitely not a thrower. I mean, 200 meters is not that great, but once again, this is not meant to be a thrower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this off now, and I'm going to do these side lights here. So I'm going to press once. Ooh, backwards. Wow. Tell you, it's pretty dark out here. I couldn't even tell. But anyways, that low side light, can't even see it. So if I press it one more time, there we go. 100 lumen warm side light. Not bad. So I'm just gonna pan around here. Look at that. That's not bad for that little side light. Double click, it's gonna go to low red, high red. I'm not gonna do the flashing of the beacon. Just want to show you guys what the low and high red looks like. So that's pretty decent. Wow. Very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go somewhere else and show you guys just an object maybe about 10 feet away what that front light looks like, and then walk around to the side and show you guys some more of this beam. Let's go. All right, I'm about 10 feet from that tree right there. So that's eco. Show you what it looks like when I'm close to something. Low, medium, very nice, high, 1000 lumens, really bright, man. And let's half press for turbo. There we go. So it gives you a nice idea what it looks like when you are close to an object right there. So let me go off to the back of this yard and show you some more beam shots. Let's go. So overall, I really like what Rovyvon was trying to do with the E30 Pro, giving us everyday carry features, tactical features, and even giving us this little side light that sort of acts as a reading light slash soft warm light lantern. And if you have this exact light, it also gives you a red light and an ultraviolet light, which could benefit a lot of people. But in my opinion, packing all of those features into one flashlight sort of makes it a jumbled mess. And in turn can get a little bit confusing, especially if you're brand new to this flashlight or if you're someone like me and rotate a lot of different flashlights in and out. Too many features isn't always a good thing, and I think there's just too many things going on with the E30 Pro. If I'm going to carry this every day, I really don't need those tactical features, and believe me guys, I know this is a personal preference. Some of you might want instant access to turbo and strobe, but for me, I'm going to carry a tactical flashlight for those purposes. If I'm going to carry this every day, I want a simplified UI, not what the E30 Pro has going on here. I prefer a simplified UI for my everyday carry and for my tactical flashlights. And that's just the thing. Every single feature here does what it's supposed to do, and I think it does it well, with the exception of the single click to eco. I really wish it was a single click to the 4 cyclable brightness levels and a double click to eco. But everything else as a separate feature, I think it does it very well. Meaning the tactical features, a half press to turbo and a full press to strobe, I think is great. And once you get used to the double press on EDC mode and then just single clicking through the 4 cyclable brightness levels, that's a good feature. And I do like the feature of having this side light with the red and the ultraviolet, but honestly, I sort of wish I would have went with the 3 3 warm white LEDs because I really don't use the red or ultraviolet light. I would much rather have the 3 warm white lights. But I hope I'm getting my point across clearly here. I wish the E30 Pro just had the front light and the side light. I wish it didn't have these tactical features. Or if it was trying to be a tactical flashlight, get rid of the 4 cyclable brightness levels and this side light. So I think the E30 Pro is a very cool flashlight with an identity crisis. Because realistically, I don't think it knows what it wants to be. It's just trying to do too much. But if you're looking for sort of an all-in-one flashlight that packs EDC, tactical, and all that other stuff into one flashlight, this could be for you, but there's going to be a slight learning curve as I described throughout this whole video. Quality-wise, it is a fantastic flashlight. This is a very high quality flashlight. Very much worth the $90 price tag that Rovyvon is asking for online. And I really like this flat wedge style trend that's going on right now. I feel like these carry just so much better in your pockets. Because it's not round, it just sits so nicely in your pockets. And the competition is getting pretty fierce out here, especially with these 3 flashlights that I showed you earlier. So would I recommend the E30 Pro? Well, that depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for an all-in-one flashlight, then yeah, I can recommend this. But for someone like me who's looking for a more simplified UI, who rotates their flashlights from everyday carry to tactical, then I can't recommend this flashlight. Plus you have the issue of the flat flashlights not being able to switch out the batteries, and yeah, you guys get what I'm saying here. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Rovyvon Angel Eyes E30 Pro? If you want to check this out for yourself, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe. And go!